Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for a bench press day. I went ahead and went with 5x5 just like I did on the squats, and I think this is probably what I need to do for a bit. I need to go heavy. I need to watch my total volumes while consuming very, very low carbohydrate. So, because again, I need to keep getting leaner. Keep getting leaner, keep getting leaner. Try to keep the muscle and strength that I have, but I have to get leaner. Doesn't mean we don't work in our weak points and we don't try to gain a little muscle and recomp if possible. But again, going to fight for every last bit. But I need to really be careful of my volumes. And the reason for that is because I do such high volume. Like even when I've counted this, I'm like, I only did 4 exercises plus a set of band press downs, right? But when you start counting sets, when you realize that pullovers are a tricep exercise, for example, I hit 10 sets for pretty much every muscle in my upper body today. Well, I do this more than once a week, so that's 20 sets. And these were all hard sets, right? So pull-ups, I went ahead and did these weighted, did a 5x5 also. The pull-ups were not quite as hard. I want to be able to progress on the weighted pull-ups a little. Yes, for those curious, I'm at 214 right now. Again, the goal is to get that waistline tighter. Looking at this footage, especially the little bit I saw from behind, it is coming down. So that lower back fat and loose skin is all starting to tighten up a little. And I'm just going to keep getting leaner. Keep getting leaner. The other thing I need to be aware of, I need to really watch the tricep work, because I've been trying to figure out in my right arm, it's either the forearm or the elbow. I can't figure out where I've had a pain for a couple weeks. And I pinpointed it and realized it's the medial tricep tendon where it's inserting at the forearm's been a little bit inflamed. So I want to watch that. So I need to be careful of some of those free weight direct tricep movements. But if we don't count pull-ups, and I've seen experts say, look, pull-up does count as a long head exercise. If we don't count pull-ups, I mean, I'm doing a ton of tricep work because we're doing 10 sets of heavy benching. 10 sets of pullovers every week. And I'm going to push the pullovers hard. I've been doing them to where I've been trying to pause and just stretch. Now I'm going to really push them as a serious exercise because I've realized the potential is there. When I did some real high rep sets with that 45-pound plate today, saw the difference. On the benching, you'll notice on set 2, I tried to grip it in closer with pinkies just inside the rings. 3 reps felt really heavy and I racked it. So the other sets I all did 5, but I'm gripping it pretty wide the way I've been training. Again, good for my chest development because I need chest to come up. And part of me wants to add incline in. I keep wanting to add incline back in also, but I realize the volumes may be too much. I really love what the incline bench brings to the table, but honestly, I feel like my whole upper body with these 20 sets that I'm doing right now, I feel like everything is being really stimulated. I don't know that I have any additional recovery room. And I think that's particularly the concern, again, with the diet at the moment. So I'm actually finding the diet, though, to be very, very good right now in terms of just my ability to keep my hunger regulated. I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to keep rolling with it. And I'm even finding that it's workable at social gatherings. I just can't really have the cookies and stuff because I'm going to avoid cheat days for a bit. It's time to just get lean, just as lean as I possibly can. That's what we need to do. And I know there are people who've chimed in who are like, oh, you don't. It's like, no, I absolutely need to. It is what my business needs. If I want people to hear my message, the training and all the advice that I give it, all the people who followed me for years and years are like, it's great. All my clients love it, but because I've never looked the part that people want, I'm going to have to get shredded, and I'm going to have to work the aesthetics. So yes, biceps are going to be a big deal, and I feel like the bicep curl is going to be, like I said, one of my big 5. I feel like it needs to be, because it's not that my whole arm is small. I don't even think my triceps are really that small. I have close grip 365. It's really just biceps. But let's come back over and talk about the tricep work. We got 20 sets for triceps a week, not counting the band press downs. So the benching, though, these wider sets felt pretty good with good pauses. Now, granted, this is pretty much flat back. Again, what people need to remember, flat back doesn't mean no arching in your low back because that would be an unnatural position. It just means that you don't do anything special for it. You're not setting up a crazy arch. You're just laying down the same way you would on a bed, right? Normal position. But the sets were tough. Every set hurt. I tried to pause on a lot of the final reps and just make every single rep focused. And I feel like, again, a 5x5 with 275 is good there. Do I think long term I want to get that up to 315? I'd love to. While I'm stripping the body fat down, that's going to be a lofty process. But again, I think we can tell we're definitely slowly continuing to get leaner here. Again, like I said, the waistline is really the biggest concern, but that is, I feel like it's tightening up a little bit. We've got a ways to go. But again, that's what happens when you've lost over 100 pounds. And I've had people chime in with that. Someone said, oh, I'm not sure, but, have you lost a bunch of weight quickly? And I'm like, no, it wasn't quickly. It's a long time ago. So apparently I do need to say this because a lot of people who chime in and see new videos, they're not aware of that at all. All right, but the curls, man, I'm really trying to squeeze hard on those curls. I'm trying to, again, push every set. And I got a great bicep pump and burn just doing those sets. And again, at this point, I'm not even trying to really be slow with it. It's just get the power in, get the range of motion, hammer that muscle and feel that muscle. Okay, I'm just going to push these sets hard. Right, and I'm not worried about everything being so beautiful and super strict. I'm just worried about getting the muscles through their full ranges of motion, feeling those muscles stretch, contracting and squeezing the hell out of them, and just hammering through the sets. And I'm trying to be a little bit aggressive with it if I need to. The pullovers, I kind of do the same thing. I'm like, I don't need to just keep doing these long pulls. Let's just hammer these and get a stretch at the bottom. See what we can do with these sets. And I got 15 on the first few, and I felt like maybe I had a win. And I ended up pushing the last set just pretty much almost a failure. And I got like 19 or 20 or something, or 21. I didn't count. So I probably need to up the ante on those. I might need to take those up to real high reps. Again, I noticed I felt my chest burning. I felt the chest and triceps and everything a lot when I pushed those sets harder. So again, something I'm going to need to do. Something I'm going to need to do. But I got a great bicep just burn doing this today. And like I said, long term, I would love to get those up to a full plate per side for sets of 10. And being able to get it all the way to my face and do a full range of motion. That'll be a goal to work on. I feel like if I get to that point, my biceps will, no one will think that I don't have big arms at that point. I think that's a good goal. Because again, performance goals, they matter. Muscle size and strength are correlated. So if I can get those curls to that strength level, biceps will be good. That's a lofty goal, though. It's a lofty goal. We'll work on it. At the pullovers, again, I'll probably need to start increasing weight. Or since the sort of reps I feel like I'm getting here, we may need to just grab a 55 next time and just hammer the reps and see if I can get 15s with that. But now I'm just treating it, just getting that deep stretch reflex. Let's just push it. And that way we'll get all the development. But again, when you start adding up the work being done, everything got worked with a lot of volume. All my muscles got 10 quality sets in the upper body. So we don't need a lot of variation for that. And everything got hit from a couple angles, and that's the thing when it comes to this. People are like, but it's only one exercise. No, it's absolutely not. Okay. Let's assume the pullovers don't work the long head of the tricep or the chest or any of that. We know they kind of do, but if we don't count that, chest got the pullovers and bench, that's 10 sets. Triceps got work, that's 10 sets. Okay. Lats, pull-ups, lats, traps, all that. But they get the pullovers, the weighted pull-ups. They all burned. My shoulders burned from everything. I mean, all the delt splash over everything was a delt exercise. Right? So that's kind of hard to break down the sets. But again, there's something I've noticed. Again, there's a lot of people said, people over-focus sometimes on the amount of delt work they think they need if they're doing a lot of other really hard work. because the delts are being hit from so many angles all the time and everything. There's a reason they're the biggest muscle in the upper body. They just have so many functions, so many things going on with that one muscle. You know, I think that's another thing. I actually was chatting with a guy who's chasing the whole golden era physique, who is a very strong guy who does great in powerlifting, but also bodybuilding, who I know personally. He kind of mentioned that. He's like, look, dude, guys who are trying to chase that look shouldn't overdevelop their delts. He goes, that's really a very modern bodybuilder thing. So I thought that was an interesting point. Because we always think of that, well, working delts is aesthetic, but a lot of this stuff is building delts. I mean, we could almost say that was some of it, you know, strong on an incline is going to have big delts. You know, it's really leanness that makes that area look big that people think of for that aesthetic point. It really is. And let's be honest, at the end of the day, the guys who do look great usually pecs and arms. I mean, pecs and biceps that people think of for that look. It really is. But again, when you count sets up, we're in a good place. All right, the pullovers, though, again, I've not tried to really push these. You know, since I'm not dealing with the hip drop and the cross bench, and I'm just doing these long ways on the bench, you know, it really kind of creates a different dynamic for the exercise. I feel like I can just go ahead and push it like a real movement, you know, just do the nice full long range of motion. The mobility is going to keep improving because we're hitting a deep stretch reflex on every single rep, you know, weighted stretch reflex in the lengthened position. This is where you get mobility, you know, and I've had people who discuss that, and they'll discuss range of motion, and I'm like, you're not chasing flexibility when we're thinking of stuff with strength. We're chasing mobility, which means range of motion, but strength in that range of motion. Okay, and that's the difference. The weighted thing matters here. But again, this has helped, and the range of motion and mobility and everything are improving in my shoulder over time. And again, I feel like this exercise is money. I feel like my hanging leg raises, because they also replicate a dead hang, and doing those every single lower day. You know, we are stretching all this stuff. We're working it. And I think that's going to make the biggest difference. And again, my shoulders feel good on all the weighted pull-ups. They're pain-free. So we know that all this is working. We know it's working. And the other thing is that's beautiful with all this, I'm getting a wider variety of rep ranges now, because I'm doing heavy work on all the main lifts now, right? Say we're doing 5s with my 4 big exercises, then we're getting, you know, 10 plus on other stuff, and a few things end up hitting really high reps. I think it works because, again, a lot of the experts are saying they do think in the long term there will be research showing that different rep ranges have slightly different hypertrophic triggers, so that they may actually produce some separate pathways. And then we finish up with one high rep set of band press down to keep those tendons healthy and make sure my triceps just get a really good pump at the end. And I just pretty much take these to failure. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.